Hello? Guys, Anthony was just scared because the camera just went on the floor.
Okay,
I think we're going like this. Yay! Okay, what's going on? I'm gonna pull up my sleeves because this is serious topics about serious stuff. Thank you so much. I don't know what we're discussing. What are we discussing?
What are we discussing? So you are a visual storyteller.
Yes, hi.
And I am.
You are a storyteller.
I storytell with words.
And, well, depends. You're mixing stuff up. My thing is like definitely sitting in visuals and experting on that for the last bloody 10 years. But you are swimming in different spaces, right? Sometimes you need words. Sometimes you direct other people what else to do, right?
That is true, yes.
Yeah, so it's not, so you do use visuals sometimes.
I in fact, you should use it most times on social media.
Thank you. I paid him to say that. Okay, so what are we talking about today?
Well, I thought it'd be cool since you are a visual storyteller and I'm a social media storyteller, to kind of just trade thoughts, I guess. What makes a good piece of visual storytelling?
When it makes an impact, when it drives an action. So in reality, that could be, we used it so that the client said yes. We used it so that we won a pitch. We used visuals so that the team is aligned for the next year and know what they're doing and they're inspired. We used it so that there's more likes, let's be honest. We used it so that the client earned more money. Like, let's be honest, this is business, it's not charity, it's not a hobby. Yes, I still draw for a hobby, but there's always a commercial and, you know, business related brief and goal. And it's funny how you can get there through clever ways of placing your visuals in the kind of a journey from A to Z with a client. Now, where do you put that? That's of course to be always discussed. Brief. What is content? Content is so wide. What makes it good?
Well, content used to be a great word until we all started using it. And then we're all using it. It's just meaningless.
I know.
Right?
It's
but
everywhere.
How we use social media affect how we create, you know, how we write, how we do visuals for, you know, other mediums. But stuff like Instagram and TikTok has really affected all those mediums. There was a piece, you know, Saturday Night Live?
Oh God, SNL forever.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. The OGs.
I mean, they even did a whole skit when Adele was on. Not Adele, sorry, Billie Eilish was on.
Oh, I love her.
And it was a TikTok skit on SNL, and I thought that's crazy.
They were just dancing. They were just doing random stuff.
Yeah.
And why does that work?
And
so what's going on with the content? What's happening with it?
One is, you know, I feel a good idea always starts with good writing. Always starts with good intent. Every piece, your favorite piece of art, right, had intent, right? That it, you know, a Monet or a Picasso always had a statement to make. It always starts there. So don't start, I think if you are a great artist, you can start drawing, but if you draw with intent, it's going to be so much better.
What's the idea? What's the intent? Strong one. Next one, Anthony.
So start with good intent. And you'll always think of a visual to go with it. You know, aside from LinkedIn and on Twitter, most platforms are very visuals nowadays, right?
Yeah.
So
why is that, do you think? What's going on with our brains? What's happening? Why?
Well, I think that because it's so easy to access now, right? So Wi-Fi it's got so much, you know, it's gotten so fast.
Depending where you are, hashtag travel, not always great. Sorry, guys.
We are probably the most documented, you know, photographs, right? Generation of ever. You know, and the generations further are going to be documented even further with videos because we have the space and technology to capture all that. So as we're able to capture all that and tell our kind of stories through that, you know, these platforms are just facilitating more visuals because we can. And because it's easier to take a picture sometimes than to describe it with words. So,
so idea, intent, and then consider your visual approach to it.
Your visuals. When you're considering your visuals, I think, you know, if you think about some of the more established platforms like Instagram, like Facebook, think about how the visual works with the words, your caption. A lot of times you end up with a visual that either is disconnected with the words, or they work against each other. What you want them to do is complement each other. It's almost like a comic book strip, right? Where one thing supports the next. You can have a visually hilarious picture in the bottom. It could tell a longer story, longer form of why that's funny or what you're trying to tell from there. A lot of times the visual can do a lot of the heavy lifting for your storytelling, and all you need is a single line on the caption, and it'll just go right through, it'll take your story right through.
So make sure that those words are important. That's the thing, that stuff in our work is where we never get rid of the words. Words are super important. And what would you say about like long form, kind of content creating and shorter? Because the whole attention span is gone. We don't think, we are literally like goldfish, it has a longer attention span, whatever. Do people read? Do people go through longer form content when you invite them to?
I think there are still places for long form content. Although it's not what it used to be. In the past, we could, put a link on a tweet and help people to read this thing, they'll read it. Now that it goes against, it's in direct competition with like a bunch of TikToks where it's like in 3 seconds, this is gonna be funny or not, or it is worth watching or not, right? And so when somebody looks at a long piece of content and go, oh, I could just go see that cat video.
I'm sometimes do that. So for example, I have like amazing articles that I want to read. They're literally on my tabs, endless 100 tabs. I'm one of those people. Are you? Bad for your computer. My computer's like, please Natalia, please. And I still have them in my tabs. I haven't read them. I have the intention to, I know it's going to be amazing, but I'm like, oh, long. What do we do about that?
I think you can break down your long form content into chunks. How do you take those pieces, that long form piece of content, and turn them into smaller chunks where each individual chunk has an intent of its own, right? And by doing that, you're not just kind of like publishing one long essay. Instead of doing that, you got 10 short stories.
And it's more useful for the, again, social and stuff, right? To like chunk it out. But if you're interested and we got your interest and let's say engagement, go here to read the whole thing, right?
Yeah.
But it's easier for me to kind of quickly on my phone go through that one idea, and it will probably be quicker stuck in my brain than like, huh.
Think about like musicians, right? They drop an album and nobody wants to listen to the whole album. So what do?
I do Adele forever. Sorry.
But in order for Adele to get our attention, she dropped a few singles.
Yes.
Right? So each of these singles.
Yes.
So think of it that way.
So that kind of changed as well. So this is also content, isn't it?
It is
right?
all content.
So it's not just like your social media, your visuals, your blogs, your writing, how you present your brand. Think about actually everything, right? That's I think also why I think series and Netflix is doing so well, because it's chunks. You're giving me chunks. I can give you 20 minutes of my time, but like 2.5, I'll fall asleep probably. Is there anyone like me that falls asleep on every movie, although I really love it? Like, this is ridiculous. I still need to see Matrix. I'm gonna give it 2 hours, but will I fall asleep? Who knows? Keanu, please don't make me fall asleep. Content, music, movie, business content, social media, everything is massively changing, right?
It's massively, it's funny because it's changing how we present ourselves and how we publish. But what doesn't change is the intent, is the ideas, and those never change, right? So I think it's actually a good idea to, as an exercise, to kind of sit down and write in long form what your intent is. Because you can draw from that to create little pieces of content. You can draw from that to jump on a TikTok trend, right? You can do a silly little dance that turns into a piece of advice that's useful to somebody.
And what would you say to like, let's say, at least in my world, a lot of our clients, they're not on TikTok, they're not planning to. A lot of them, let's say, sit in LinkedIn and sit on their website and communicate with their clients kind of internally with their emails, and that's where it works. What would you say to whoever watches this, kind of how do I choose where the hell I am contenting? Where am I putting stuff out? Because it can get overwhelming,
I think it depends on 2 things, right? One is who you want to connect with, and the other is, well, who you already connect with, right? If you want to be the next influencer, you probably don't want to start on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Right? You probably want to get as much attention as quickly as possible. So you're looking at things like Instagram Reels, TikTok, because those platforms right now are giving you incredible organic reach. But if you're more like, Natalia and myself, who's doing this partly for business, then you would highly consider LinkedIn because 2 things. One is, throughout your career, I'm sure you've made connections on LinkedIn with people you've worked with in the past, and they remember the relationship that you have working with them. So they remember you. And the other is that, well, you know, yeah, so it kind of touched both things where you have people that you want to connect with that's going to be there, and you've got people who already knows you that's on there. So if you aren't active on LinkedIn right now and you want to consider social media for business, I highly recommend it. Taking a second look at LinkedIn. I know what it feels like at first. It feels like everybody's just like, oh,
I want this, I'm amazing.
Yeah, I bought 1,000 NFTs.
We all do that, whatever. We don't know what to do there with ourselves. Yeah.
Start finding people that you can connect with. Start just even connecting with people from the past. And then look at your feed as you build more of your connections and see what you get inspired to create.
And we always say, like, look where your audience is hanging out, and that's a purely business related advice, I would say, because if a client comes to me and they're like, you know, oh, we need to put out this visual kind of storytelling or whatever and turn it into something, but they've never been on Instagram and no one's there, don't do it there, you know? So do it where your audience will care. So how about sending this beautiful thank you email to all your clients that came to XYZ, and that's when you will gain that love. Or how about putting, as you said, on LinkedIn, where no one really kind of like knew that you're doing something, but it's so business orientated and there's so many connections, they'll be like, wow, that's really cool. So for us, for example, like, you know, we tried some TikTok and stuff, but like, I'm not gonna dance there. So guys, forget it.
We're accustomed to how to communicate in a certain way through video. And this kind of TikTok language of video is, you know, transcends beyond just, you know, the TikTok platform itself. You could throw it onto LinkedIn and people will still engage.
There you go, that's a good advice. I'm gonna try that then. Without dancing, no dancing.
Maybe we'll dance later.
Yeah.
I'm a terrible dancer. That's why I play an instrument.
To summarize, Anthony, what to do with content, give us like a quick spoof.
If you create content with intent, you will always be in a good place. You know, it doesn't matter if it's just text, doesn't matter if it's long form, doesn't matter if it's an email or a letter to your mom. As long as you start with good intent, everything will be better.
I love that. You know what? One message, focus, just get on with it. Tell us how you're doing, comment down below, and just get on with it. Go now. Ciao.
Oh my god, my head just shines off.
Ah, my head just shines. Is it too?
No, it's fine.
But I think we need to lower this. I mean, to be fair, you don't need that stuff.
So now I know why they put like, there's a makeup department. I bet there's like,
no, it's
fine.
Okay.
See, you know exactly what to do.